We're looking at another football trading strategy for the Betfair exchange, and it's going to be lay the draw, the Metaltone strategy. This has been a strategy that has been floating around forums and the internet for over a decade. You may have already heard of it. You may not have. Either way, we're going to dive into it. We're going to show you the strategy step by step. We're going to show you some real life examples, and we're going to answer that question. Can this strategy actually work and make us money? Go grab a nice cold beer and let's get into it. So if you're watching this video and you're a subscriber to this channel, we're kind of assuming that you already know how the lay the draw strategy works, where the idea is we lay the draw, we wait for a goal to the favorite, the draw price goes higher, we lock in a profit based on the price difference in the draw once it's a higher price. However, a big dilemma for many is what to do if you lay the draw but the underdog takes the lead. Usually when the underdog takes the lead, this means the draw odds can remain static, so they don't really move, or they can even shorten, which actually means you might have to take a loss if the underdog takes the lead. And so many football traders, especially beginners, end up in a very sticky situation and a bit of a confusing dilemma as to what to do when this scenario plays out. Do you just get out of the trade and try and look for another opportunity? Or do you hold it? Because at the end of the day, you've laid the draw and now there is a team winning. So effectively, you are ahead. So it can be very, very confusing. And then a long, long time ago, over 10 years ago, an interesting development happened on an internet forum, which I cannot remember. But anyway, a user with the name Metaltone had a solution to this. And this user, Metaltone, shared this strategy and said, if the underdog scores first after laying the draw, what Metaltone does is Metaltone will back the draw with 50% of the stake you've used. So if you've laid that draw with £100, you're going to back the draw now with £50. And then you're going to lay the team that is now winning with 75% of your stake. So if you were using a £100 stake, you're going to lay them with £75. So you're effectively shifting your trade to be a lay the winning team trade, okay? And then you're going to cash out for a profit upon an equalizing goal. And if you get that equalizing goal in good timing, then there should be a good profit to be made. And so this has been a good solution for a lot of kind of like this solution when an underdog takes the lead. But of course, there are many that have pointed out the flaws to it. And in this video today, we are going to just dive into some real life examples of this to really investigate this strategy and see if it's viable and see if this is something you want to use. That's the whole point of this channel. That's why we demonstrate the strategies for you to decide if it's a strategy you like. Remember, we're never endorsing any strategies. This is totally up to you and it's your call. But anyway, as mentioned, I really think that this is going to be best demonstrated with some real life demonstrations to show you the dynamics and the mechanics of the Metaltone strategy. So let's dive into that right now. But before we do, I would really love it if you could click the like button to support the channel. Remember, we make these videos for you for free. All we ask for in return is for you to click the like button and support us. While you're there, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you get all our new videos as soon as they come out, even the time sensitive videos. Okay, is that all done? Let's check out some real life demonstrations of the Metaltone football trading strategy. So I'm going to give you a quick demo trade on the football trading simulator first of all. And so let's just get in this market. We've loaded up this match. This was a previous match from the Swedish league. And we're going to see how this plays out. So we've laid a draw at kickoff. Let's click on next goal. And it's going to zoom us forward to the first goal of the game. And it's gone to the underdog, okay? So according to the rules of this is that we're now going to back the draw with 50%, right? So we used £100. So that means we're going to back the draw now at 4.3 with £50. And then we're going to lay this underdog who's now taking the lead, okay? And they're now obviously leading. They're now the favorite, actually. But anyway, we're going to lay the pre-match underdog who's leading 1-0 at 2.24, and you can see how that shifts around the liability. Okay, all the profit stays on the favorite. We've now got a negative situation on the underdog, and we've got a liability still on the draw, but just lower. Okay, now if we go to next goal, we can see what this does to the market when that next goal goes in, which goes in on the 33rd minute. Okay, 1-1, ideal scenario, and we can now be in a position where we can now cash out. Okay, and so obviously this is a much better option for a lot of people than just kind of praying and maybe hoping that underdog goes 2-0 up where they can get out of the trade, or if they can just think, well, I'm going to wait. If it goes back to 1-1, you're kind of back to square one. This way, the trade is done. Okay. But anyway, I mean, this is on the simulator. This is obviously without the stresses of the real markets and all that sort of thing. So let's get into some real life trades, and we're going to try out the Metaltone strategy on the real life markets. Let's take a look at this. So it's 1-0 to the underdog in this one. Motherwell just took the lead over Aberdeen. We laid the draw at 3.85, so the draw price has moved to 3.4. So obviously you can see the dilemma. We've laid the draw price has actually gone down instead of up after the goal. So we apply the Metaltone. It's back in the draw with £50. Laid Motherwell £75 in there at 2.38. So we've got £53 of risk now on Motherwell and £90 of risk on the draw. Let's see if we can get an equaliser in good timing, or let's just see what happens. 41 minutes on the clock. It's just gone 1-1 in this one. Betfair scoreboard behind as usual, but it has gone to 1-1. Aberdeen 1, Motherwell 1, and it's just time to just press the cash out. Okay, let's just get this locked in. This is obviously the scenario we're looking for. We're looking for an equaliser. Okay, so yeah, let's just get that locked in. So what is interesting, remember we had that goal against us at 19 minutes. We applied the Metaltone, and then 20 minutes later we've got the equaliser. However, look at the profit that we've locked in as a result. Okay, £9.50. Big question you have to ask yourself: is it worth that? Is it worth going to all that trouble to then make that sort of profit if we get the equaliser? Now, from what we've seen and what we kind of saw with the little demo with this simulator earlier on, is that if we want to get that equaliser, we want to get it very, very quickly for this to be the ideal trade. The longer it goes without the equaliser, probably the less potential profit that you can make, to the point where there probably will be no profit if there is no equaliser. So, interesting one. Now we've tested this in the wild, and obviously it's something to keep in mind. On the flip side, a lot of people could argue and just say, well, if we had laid the draw and we had stayed with laid the draw, well, now we're in an awkward position because we've now got all of that liability against us, because it's now into 2.7 and it's 1-1, 42 minutes on the clock. So obviously, look, there's pros and cons to everything, but this is obviously something to be very aware of. If you don't get that equaliser straight away, you might be a little bit disappointed by the profit that is available for you to take. So I still have more real life examples to come of this strategy as we investigate what happens when things go wrong with this strategy. So that's going to be very interesting. We're going to get into that just a moment, but I do want to let you know we're giving away this free book at the moment. Okay, this is the beginner's guide to trading the over and under goals markets. If you're interested in trading the over 1.5, over 2.5, 3.5 goals markets on Betfair, then this ebook is the thing for you to check out. I know some of the loyal subscribers might have already seen this, might already have got this copy, but if you have missed it, then it's free to download either way and add it to your collection. So the link to get this is in the description of this video. Just click it, submit your email address, and by the time the video is finished, you should have that ebook in your inbox ready for you to check out. So if you are especially totally new to the world of football trading and trading goals in particular, this is the perfect way to fast track the learning of it, and it's absolutely free. Link is in the description. Put in your best email address. Fake email addresses will not work. Reading with a nice cold beer is strongly recommended as well. Okay, so like I said, do that right now, and then you'll get the ebook in your email inbox by the time the video is done. But let's dive back into some real life examples of the later draw Metaltone strategy, and let's just take a look at what can develop when it doesn't quite go according to plan. So around 13 minutes in on this one, and the underdog has taken a lead in this one. So this is the scenario we're looking for. We laid the draw for 3.85 and the draw hasn't really moved, okay? But the price of the underdog has moved in. So we now back the draw with 50%, which is the £50, okay, because we laid the draw with £100. And so that will get that draw liability down to 150. And now we're going to lay this underdog, who is now winning at a 2.22 with £75, okay? So once that's in the market, so what you'll see is it's adjusted it. It's lowered our liability substantially compared to where the liability on the draw before. But of course now we are in a scenario where we will need an equalizer, and we're probably going to need it pretty soon for this to work out really well, okay? So anyway, Orebro 0, Albright 1. Let's see what happens next. So we're heading into like the 83rd minute of this match, and it's still 1-0 to the underdog. Their price is ticking in now to around 1.32. So we haven't had the equaliser, and we haven't had the equaliser in good timing as well, because we have to accept that, look, if it goes to 2-0 now to the underdog, well, we're going to definitely lose that liability on them. Even if it goes to 1-1, we're still going to be in the red, because we've got £75 of red on that. So really, we're looking at this point to get out with any sort of profit. We probably need that favourite to turn it around, okay? So obviously that is just something to consider if you're going to use the Metaltone strategy, that maybe you might need a little plan for if that goal doesn't arrive by the latter stages of the match. You might have to just keep that in mind. On the flip side, on the bright side, is that you could argue and just say, well, this has saved me a lot of stress, because remember, we laid the draw for 3.85. It's only now gone out to like 4.7-ish, as you can see, or 5. Still not the biggest profit, but maybe only now you could get out and take a profit if we were just going to stick with lay the draw. But in the meantime, we'd have a really, really big liability, or much bigger liability in the meantime. So that's also something to consider. But anyway, we'll see. Let's see if we get a goal in this one. But this is obviously one of the kind of the flaws of the Metaltone that you have to keep in mind. And so here we are. The clock is ticking down, and you would assume full time's going to go, or the full time whistle is going to go off at any moment. And so we're going to take a loss on this one. And an interesting kind of situation that you're in these final stages is that you actually don't want an equaliser to be scored, because obviously we've got a £41 loss if Albright go on and win. But if there is an equaliser, well, then it's going to be a bigger loss, okay? So there's some food for thought with this strategy, in that, well, you're going to be laying that underdog, you're going to be looking for an equaliser, but there is a point in the match where suddenly you don't want an equaliser, and so that's something that we're going to have to work out, okay? So anyway, just an interesting example there. This is why we do these live demonstrations. This is what this channel's all about, okay? Obviously, with the Metaltone, it's very nice when it goes well, but when it goes wrong like this, well, you know, there's obviously some questions to be asked. Obviously, and on the flip side, like I said, you could argue that, hey, we took a much smaller loss than maybe we could have if this trade turned out differently. But anyway, 1-0 to the away team. A good example there of what happens if you don't get any goals at all. So this is a match between Accrington and Burton Albion. Accrington were the favourites. We laid the draw at 4. The underdog, Burton Albion's taken the lead at 10 minutes. And so let's apply the Metaltone, £50 to back the draw. And then we're going to lay that favourite with 70. Well, sorry, not lay the favourite. Well, they are the favourite now, but lay the winning team is maybe the better way to put it for everyone. Anyway, let's just quickly do this. This is just want to get these bets in the market. So that's back in the draw, and then we're going to lay Burton at 2.2. So you'll see it put £90 of liability on the draw, £40 of liability on Burton, and so obviously ideal scenario now, an equaliser goal from Accrington would put us in a profitable position. Anyway, 11 minutes in, let's see what happens next. 19 minutes on the clock, and this was not in the script. It's just gone 2-0 to Burton Albion. And when I say this wasn't in the script, it also wasn't in the strategy guide about what you do if there is a 2-0 to the underdog scenario. Because, I mean, what do we do? Do we accept this loss and just lock it in now? £34. Do we just leave it, let it run? Because obviously Accrington, you know, they were the favourite. They still could turn it around and go 3-2 up. So lots of questions about what to do in this particular scenario when this comes up. So yeah, just an example for you right there of what can happen when you're doing a Metaltone. You can get involved, and then that underdog could double the lead and go 2-0 up. And the biggest thing to keep in mind is that we laid the draw at 4. If we had just held it and carried on laying the draw without taking action, we'd actually be able to take a profit right now. Okay, so these are the questions you need to ask yourself about applying the Metaltone and the things involved with it, about whether this is something you want to be doing, because if it goes against you, then it could be a whole world of frustration. You might be thinking, well, if I would have just left it, I could have actually just taken a profit. So anyway, good example for you there. As you know, this is what this channel is all about. We are experimenting, showing you what can go right, what can go wrong. Okay, Accrington 0, Burton Albion 2. I'm not even sure what I'm going to do. I think we'll just leave it and let it run at this particular point. So there are pros and cons to the later draw Metaltone strategy, and let's just run through it once again. Remember, if the underdog scores first, you back the draw with 50% of your stake, you lay the winning team with 75% of your stake, and then you cash out for a profit upon the equalizing goal. But what we've learned today in this video is, what do we do if there's no equalizer before half time? You're maybe in an even more of a sticky situation. However, that does not mean that this strategy is totally useless. I think there is still room and scope for this strategy to be a useful strategy. You'd have to just maybe look at something or some sort of plan for what to do if there is no equalizer before half time. What do you do in the second half? Maybe there is a maneuver that you could make. Maybe you just return back to a regular later draw at that particular point. Maybe you just exit out, okay, because the trade's not going fully to plan. So this is all stuff to keep in mind. And obviously the thing with the later draw Metaltone strategy is that it was just shared on a forum over 10 years ago. It was not a commercially available strategy, and if it was commercially available, you would hope that whoever made it available would have put in some more detail, some more exit strategies, and so on and so on. But because it was just a free strategy floating around the internet, we kind of have to just go with what we have. But there is scope for you to add on stuff and maybe investigate things further, and maybe we will do that in a future video, depending on the feedback to this particular video. But anyway, if you've enjoyed checking this out and you enjoy checking out football trading strategy videos and the live demonstrations and so on, then we've got another great video on the screen for you right here. I suggest clicking on that video, go grabbing another nice cold beer, and I will see you in this video that's on the screen right now. Click it and I'll see you over there.